In every revolution, there's one man with a vision.
How's it going out there, everyone? W.F.S, your doctor here today with a question for you. When you were a kid, were you ever told, and this is something that I was told, but were you ever told that television and movies, these were just places we could go to get ideas, or the people in these films were people we could look up to give us inspiration for who we could become? I think that's one of the reasons why Star Trek, Deep Space Nine, Next Generation, even Enterprise and Voyager, those were so successful because, yes, they had dark stories, some of them, but in the end, they gave us inspiration. They gave us hope that our future could be better than what it is today. And yet, when I see the news, and I don't know about you, but I'm one of those people who enjoys getting news from around the world, and I get a lot of it more on YouTube than I do anywhere else, because I honestly think that the people on YouTube are trying to let the world know what's going on in their part of the world. Anyway, I've seen a lot of things in the news lately, and it makes me ask the question, the people who are causing these problems, who were their heroes when they grew up? When they were growing up, who were their heroes? Did they seem to like the heroes of the story, or their heroes the villains? Because if you see some of the stuff that I've seen, you'll understand what I'm talking about and why I believe Star Trek seems to be, or rather the real world seems to be emulating Star Trek. Look at some of the nonsense.
Hundreds of tractors have taken to the streets of London to protest against the UK government's inheritance tax, which organisers have described as toxic.
Downing Street, if you can hear us, you need to fix this.
8,400 farmers surged into London. 1,120 tractors smashed through police containment in just 17 minutes. No warnings, no negotiations, only the roar of steel engines echoing through 14 major arteries, triggering gridlock across hundreds of central roads stretching toward the political heart of the United Kingdom. This was not a march. This was the largest rural mobilisation Britain has seen in generations, and it all erupted because of one thing, an inheritance tax plan that could force thousands of family farms to sell their land just to survive. Today's confrontation did not begin on the streets, it began with a single policy decision, a 20% inheritance tax on farms valued between £1 and £3 million, set to take effect in April 2026.
Because I want to support our farmers.
For Westminster, it was merely a tax adjustment. For farmers, it was the line between survival and collapse. The core conflict emerged from how both sides interpreted the same number. The government argued the £1 to £3 million threshold targeted only the wealthy, but in reality, most family farms exceed that valuation while their annual profits remain far below operating costs.
Okay, so right off the bat, I know all of you are out there saying, well, wait a minute, what does this have to do with Star Trek? Well, follow me on this.
I don't want to hear anything more about finances, mergers, or currency transactions. The charge has been made that you have used money to bring down a great house. What do you say to this, de Gaulle?
I think the similarities here are incredible. We have a noble Klingon house who's being taken down because of money. Meanwhile, back in the real world in Europe, the parliament over there in England has decided to raise taxes so high that the farmers whose families have owned these lands for over 150 years are being taken down because of money. They've owned the land for over 150 years. They want to pass it on to their kids and their kids after that, generation after generation. And taxes, because the government cannot afford to take care of obligations that it has made. Well, most of that has to do with immigration, but farmers are being forced to pay these massive taxes because the government can't afford to pay it. So they're willing to take down, in the Klingon words, a noble house for money. And the houses over there in England, the families are choosing to fight back. They are choosing to say that the government has slandered them, dishonored them, and they are choosing to stand up in the only way they know how.
And when you tell your children and your grandchildren the glorious story of how you rose to power and took Grilka's house from her, I hope you remember to tell them how you heroically killed an unarmed Ferengi, half your size.
Whatever you say, Ferengi.
I didn't want to believe the things he said about you yesterday. But if you can stand here and murder this pathetic little man, then you have no honor.
You know, sometimes I really do wish that life could be like it is on television. The idea that the Klingons, and I know a lot of people don't like them because they're barbaric, but I think for the most part they try to be honorable. And when someone steals land and takes down a house because of money, that's very dishonorable and not a warlike behavior. And the Klingons will turn against you. I honestly think that would be a beautiful thing to see, honestly. When you have government officials out there greedy enough to strip people of their land so they can get your money, something is seriously wrong. This is a video that I've been thinking about making for a while, life emulating Star Trek, and I would just love to know what you think about this. And I would also love to know if you think any, not just Star Trek, but any television show or movie, if there are certain things that are happening in the world that seem to remind you of certain series, episodes, or films. And I'd love to know what you think about this particular video. Is this something you'd like to see more of? Please drop those comments below and let me know. Until the next time, my friends, God bless.